Hi, this is Alex. I just watched your YouTube video on Uber driving.
Yes, how are you, mate? How can I help you?
Hi. I saw here that it said please text me, but allow me to explain why I'm calling instead of texting.
Sounds good.
I'm a much older person than typical Uber driver. I'm not a 20-something kid. I'm 48. And I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I've already signed up under another person. I can't do it for you.
That's fine.
I'm hoping that you can answer just simply one question for me. One.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like I say, I help the drivers. It doesn't mean that you have to sign up under my link. I'm there for you. Hopefully I can answer this question. Go ahead.
Okay, here's my question. If I only plan to drive 20 hours a week,
Okay.
and I want to rent a car to do so because my two-door Honda does not work, you have to have a four-door.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
If I'm gonna rent a car at the cost of $180 a week through Hertz, okay, to drive for Uber, can I still net after the cost of the car and gas? Can I still net at least minimum wage, $10 an hour, if I intend to drive 20 hours a week using a Hertz rental car?
My initial reaction to that is no. Okay, and I'm going to be very honest, because 180 per week, firstly, that's quite a bit. Obviously, you want to test the waters first, and you don't want to go lease or buy, correct? I mean, you want to try this out through a rental company, whether it's Hertz or Enterprise or one of those. So if you look at the $20 hours, okay, and you want to come out with 10 an hour, you're looking at generating 200. On top of that, the 180, you're looking at generating 380, let's say, plus your gas. Does that sound fairly realistic?
Yes.
380 plus, let's say, what would we burn in that 1 week if it was a fairly economical car? Are you talking a Prius here, a hybrid, or a regular?
It turns out that I don't have any control over what car they give me. All
Really?
I can ask for is either a compact or a standard.
Okay.
And
So let's.
we're limited to what they find out there. And the guy called me today after passing the background check
Okay.
from the corporate office
Okay.
to get me into the rental car. And when he asked what car I wanted, I said, well, whatever the cheapest car is. And he went out there and looked. And he looked at every office in L.A.
Okay.
He looked at Van Nuys. He looked at Los Angeles. He looked at even Anaheim.
Okay.
He said that the only rental cars that are available are $220 a week. They couldn't even find one at the 180 that their website quotes.
Wow. And I mean, have you like shopped to Enterprise as well? Have you run it by Enterprise? Have you run them both up against each other?
I have not, and the reason why is because the Uber website claims that Enterprise is even more expensive than Hertz.
Okay.
Instead of $180 a week, at Enterprise it's $220 is the minimum.
You see, so I mean, you're raising a very, very valid question, and I'm just trying to answer it as truthful as possible. Because if we're on 380, let's say we have to factor in a minimum of $70 gas, because you don't know whether you're going to get a hybrid, right? So let's say we're at $450 for 20 hours. If you divide that by 20, you are supposed to be generating let's say $21 per hour, roughly, okay? And I'm just going to tell you right now that is not possible. Okay, it would be possible if you are driving the busy hours Friday and Saturday night. I'm talking like 9 till 2 o'clock in the morning. If you're hitting several surges, if you understand your events calendar very well, sports events, music events. Are you in LA?
I am, yes.
So like let's say you capitalize on Greek Theater, Amphitheater, Forum, Pasadena Rose Bowl, Staples Center, and you know when all of those events come out, and you rather work smart instead of work hard, and you hit those at the right hours, like 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the evening. That's usually when these events end. You could hit some really, really big surges, and then I can say yes, you will comfortably walk away making that $10 a net in your pocket if you're working smart, right? But that would mean you'd have to commit yourself to to at least to a specific schedule where you total 20 hours, 20 like effective hours, right? And yes, you'll easily make that. But if you just jump out there on a regular day, a regular afternoon, and you're driving, you're burning gas, and you have those overheads, I don't think that you're going to cut it.
Yeah, that was going to be my plan, was to try to drive from, like, let's say 7 a.m. to 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Monday through Friday, with if I had to drive on the weekends during the days to make it up, then I suppose I could do that. But what I definitely don't want to do ever on any night is drive at night. I
Okay.
only want to be a daytime driver, and if that means I got to drive, let's say, 30 hours a week,
Yes.
and net that $10 an hour instead of 20, then I suppose I could do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's why I'm asking these questions. So, at the very same time, you know, the one thing I can tell you, stay away from these companies that offer hourly rentals, because they're just ridiculous, right? They would charge like $7.50 to $8 per hour, and then they charge you per hour. They give you free gas, but you just don't come out ahead. You know, there are some companies that do that. You don't want to really commit to a car. You don't want to lease or buy, right?
No, I don't want to commit because, again, without it knowing if it's going to be
Yes.
profitable to be even driving for Uber at all. I mean, if I can't make at least $10 an hour, if I can't make California state minimum wage, then there's no reason to be doing it.
Well, here's a suggestion, right? I mean, there are a few companies that rent it out per hour. Now, there's nothing wrong with going out for 5 hours and just seeing what the business is about and seeing what you can generate in 5 hours, okay? And I would do that for 3 hours. So I would dedicate 15 hours so that you get a very good estimate, not just drive 5 hours. You drive 15 hours, different areas, and you like, there's a company out there that I'll find it, I'll text it to you, but they charge like $7.50 for a Prius. They pay for the gas, but let's say you rent it for 5 hours, you pay them $36 or $37, and then you see what you can generate in those 5 hours. That should give you...
Even if I go the Hertz rental car thing, where, you know, they have the agreement for the lower rate than anyone else would be paying,
Yeah.
I've already set up with Uber. Even if I did the Hertz rental car thing, I'm not locked into the car for any longer than 1 week at a time.
Right, okay, then you have nothing to lose. I thought it was a 1 month minimum commitment. I thought that's what you said. If that's the case, you have nothing to lose, because you're already registered, you're already approved, and you might as well do a week and try it out. You know, you're not going to lose.
In fact, the guy that called me this morning, he said two different things. He started out by saying it's a 1 month upfront commitment, with it turning into 1 week commitment every week after that. But
Okay.
then he changed later in the conversation when I asked him to repeat that. He said, "No, it's not like you're stuck with the car for a month when
Okay.
you first start out.
Okay.
You can literally drive the car for just 1 week and then take the car back if you don't like it." That's what his last thing he said was. But
Yeah.
now I have to wonder which one is true. Is it
Well, it is probably, I mean, it probably
1 week?
probably sounds like a little bit of a sneaky salesman, but I do think you should be able to take it for a week. And the one thing is, I would tell him straight up front, hey, I'm shopping around, I'm comparing your rates to enterprise, I'm comparing the duration. I want to see after a week if this is what I want to do, and then, you know, I will continue. Will you rent it to me for a week? And I'm pretty damn sure they will.
Okay. But in conclusion, from what I hear you saying, even if it meant that I had to drive 30 hours a week instead of 20, there's no reason why, after the cost of the vehicle and after gas, why I shouldn't be able to net $10 an hour.
Exactly. I think if you like, 30 hours is a good threshold, you know, because when you're driving 20, you're looking at this one high overhead, which is 180. That 180 doesn't change if you go 30 or 40 hours. You know what I mean? It's the same amount. It's just that you want to, like, with 30 hours, the dynamics change tremendously, you know, because it just works out. I mean, you know, this 180 standard overhead fee is there. It's going to be there every week, whether you put in 20, 30 or 40 hours. So, you know, and maybe try it out, you know, go up to the 20-hour mark, see what you've earned, and then put in another additional 10 hours, trying to get like a 1 weekend for 180, see where you stand at the 20 mark and see where you stand at the 30 mark, and then compare the figures for the 20 hours to the 30 hours. Because here's the other thing, you've got a car now, you can use it for many other things, right? It's not that you just confined to ride sharing. You can use it for your private matters, right? Because you've tied that vehicle down for a week. So you got to be realistic and look at it at many. You may even be able to sell your other car if this really works out after a week. Maybe rent for a few months, build up some cash, and then put a better down payment, and then go into a higher category like a select or a black, where you're earning more per hour. I just think you might get a bit frustrated after 6 months still being in UberX. I'm just speaking for myself. I just got a bit frustrated.
Well, in my case, the whole reason at my age for wanting to do something like this is because
how old are you again?
Jobs that I'm aware of where I can have the scheduling flexibility to be pursuing an acting career.
Perfect. And how old are you again? How old are you?
I'm 48.
Well, you're my age. We're not old. We're young. Okay. So
and I look about 35.
There we go. Excellent.
My point is, there's just plain few jobs where I can turn on the app,
Yes.
drive for a few hours in the morning, go to an afternoon audition for acting, then after the audition, turn the app back on and start driving again. There's plain few jobs that give you that kind of flexibility.
100%. And that's why it is a good choice for you. And that's why I do it, because I get time with my kids. I go on holidays. I switch on and off whenever I feel like it, right? And the same, if you have to go to all of these castings and be for the few hours, you can't drive. You can hop in right after you finish your casting. You can set on the app, and then even as you finish the casting, you can switch on the app, and who knows, by the time you're out the door, you got your first trip, right? So it's an ideal thing for you. I would just run the numbers. Good conversation, by the way. I would just run the numbers, 20 hours, 30 hours, and at least get them to commit to a week. Because, you're ready to go. You've been approved. You've gone through the whole process. They've green lighted you. So I don't think you have anything to lose.
Let me ask you one last question.
Sure.
Is there any big difference between, one of the reasons why I didn't take the $220 rental car today that they had was because I was a little pissed by the fact that they're advertising $180 a week, and then here they can't find a car for that, and they want me to pay $40 more, for a car that's going to rent for $220 a week. Well, my question to you is, I'm guessing that there's probably not a real big difference between 180 versus 220. That is $40, but I'm guessing if I'm going to be driving between 20 and 30 hours, that extra $40 is no big deal. Would that be true?
It's true that the $40 is not a big deal, but maybe they can give you some guarantee at least, because on 220 I would want a decent car. I don't want to have it like luck of the draw, we'll give you this one. So on 220 at least, give me a guarantee that I'm getting a good car, a clean car, a new model, and otherwise I go elsewhere. I go, when the moment you mention Enterprise or any of the others, that's when they don't want to lose a lifelong, it's not just about this. It's about you renting a car when you go on holiday. It's about you renting a car when you're in Vegas. It's usually a lifelong commitment to Hertz or Avis or Enterprise. And, if it's a good manager, you say, hey, keep me happy and I'm a customer for life. Or, I'm going to go shop with Enterprise. That's what I do. I always play them up against each other.
Unfortunately, that conversation I was having this morning was not with Hertz employee. It was with an Uber employee who was taking charge of putting me together with a rental car.
That sounds strange. Was he working at the rental place?
No, he actually called me from Uber corporate because I signed up through the website, of course, through Uber.
Oh, I see.
And once they finished my background check, that's when an Uber employee called me from Uber corporate and said, okay, we're ready to get you into a rental car now. And he was the person looking for me the car.
Do you have his number?
Looking at different, yeah.
Do you have the guy that contacted you? Do you have his number?
I could probably scroll through my list on my phone and find it again.
He emailed you, right? Or you do have some communication back and forth. You have his name. You have the email.
No, he did not email me. He was
okay.
just a guy who called.
Okay.
And told me that I had passed my background check. And
okay.
Now it's
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
he's not a Hertz employee. He identified himself as an exchange employee, meaning working for Uber.
Yeah, which means they're getting their commission, their kickback from Hertz. Which is probably the way it works. But I mean, I would tell him that you really, if you're dealing with any Uber person, I don't know whether I should go with Lyft or with Uber, and back and forth. The bottom line is, the moment you play either these companies up against each other, they treat you a little differently. So I would hope that you could call this guy back and say, listen, I need some specific guarantees if I'm committing to 220.
Oh yeah, and I even told the guy, hey, 220 is not what you've advertised on your website. You're advertising 180.
And rightfully so. Then they should honor the 180. Otherwise, you're going to go elsewhere.
Right. And when I told him that, he said, well, I'm looking at several different offices here in LA trying to find you a car at that price, and 220 is the lowest I can find. And I said, well,
if I can,
until next week.
if I can make a suggestion, have you been down to Westwood? It's on Santa Monica and Westwood Boulevard where their office is. Have you been down there?
I have not. No.
It's really worth a visit. They've really upped the game. They've got a whole lot better. You go down there and you ask to actually speak to one of the managers and just say you were very upset about the fact that you wanted to pull the trigger on 180 and then they're trying to sell you this 220. If you go down to the local office and kick up a little bit of a storm, I'm not saying like a crazy storm, but like just say that you're a little disappointed in the initial, in the initiation process. You're a little bit disappointed. What can they do for you? They want. I would go down there and spend that 1 hour down there. You park, you go off Santa Monica, you turn left on Westwood. You can see it's the Westwood office. You get a number, and then you'll wait 30 minutes. You get called up, and then I would speak to the front desk, ask for a manager, and specifically explain their situation, why you need to speak to a manager. I always speak to a manager there. I don't, and I get the things resolved. The last 3 visits there have been very positive.
Okay, I'll do that, and thank you so much for talking to me when I'm not going to obviously be able to...
It's perfectly fine. Cool, no, just leave a couple of likes on my videos and I'm a happy man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll certainly do it. Thank
Okay.
you so much, sir.
You're so welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye. Excellent conversation. Excellent questions that this guy raised. He's in LA. He is in the process of renting a car. Can't lease, can't buy, can't commit to a vehicle on that level, but wants to rent and test the waters. Okay, he's thinking of doing it for a week. Excellent. And he's very upfront. I can devote 20 hours to my business because I'm an actor. I need to go to those castings. I'm 48 years old. He's not old. I'm 48. We're not old. We have a lot of juice, a lot of energy in us 40-year-olds. Okay, so it was a good conversation, and I hope you guys learned from it. I certainly learned a ton of good new stuff in this conversation with this gentleman here in LA. How Hertz is treating him, how they're changing the figures, the numbers on him. My friends, he is the driver, he is the king, okay? And Uber or Lyft should be fighting for this guy and satisfying his needs, not the other way around, okay? There's no desperation factor. This man has choices. He can go to several rideshare companies. So always stand up for yourself. Always play up these companies, these rental companies against each other. You want the best deal for yourself. You want the best deal from Uber or the best deal from Lyft. Otherwise, you're going to change ship, okay? That's just how this business works. Again, thank you for the call. It was great talking to you. Appreciate it.